Yo, what's poppin' everyone? Welcome back to the Shuffle Squad. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be covering over Klawf with Terapagos EX, one of the new popular decks in our format, and I think it's a deck that's going to hold strong for the rest of our Surging Sparks format. So we see Klawf, it's pretty low HP Pokemon compared to a lot of these other Pokemon, and we can use its Unhinged Scissor attack for a double turbo energy. Now, 30 damage isn't going to get you too far, so we probably want to affect it by a special condition so that we're doing 30 plus 160. Should also be notable that Klawf is fighting type, so it is strong against Pokemon such as Miraidon EX, Fezandipiti EX to hit for that OHKO due to weakness. So we got Brute Bonnet up in here with its ability. We can make both active Pokemon poisoned with its Toxic Powder attack. We do need to have an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached to Brute Bonnet to make that work, but we do have ways to fetch those out, whether we're going to be playing Arven or we can have something like Oranguru V in the active with its back order. Back order, if it's in your active, because it's pretty underplayed card, I'd say. Search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon Tool cards, put them into your hands. And the cool thing about Oranguru V is you could search out that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. You could search out even like a 4 Seal Stone, so you can use your V-Star to search out whatever you're looking for. With this deck being a lot of combo pieces, like you need the Klawf, you need the Double Turbo, you need a lot of other things, Oranguru really helps you get there, so you could Switch Cart right into it, or Latias EX Free Retreat into it and make it work. So one of the cards you might search for with that 4 Seal Stone is going to be a Precious Trolley, one of the new A specs that we have from Surging Sparks that's kind of made this deck work. Search your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench until you fill your bench, whatever that is. So if you do not have an Area 0 in play, you can only get 5, but if you have Area 0 in play, so each player that has a Terra Pokemon in play can kind of have up to 8 on their bench. So this makes Precious Trolley a lot of better card. You can have that 8 bench and make Precious Trolley search for a lot of different cards. Now, one way that we have it is Terapagos EX. So we see this in the Miraidon deck, or we see it in other decks where they play a Terra Pokemon. Whether or not you're attacking with it is up to you. In this case, we can attack with it, and we chose Terapagos EX because we do play those double turbo energies, and we can attack with Unified Beatdown, especially having that large 8 bench. We can attack with Unified Beatdown quite easily, 30 times the amount of bench Pokemon, but it is a Terra Pokemon, so with the Terra Pokemon, Terapagos EX, you can now activate Area 0, having 8 on your bench. Now you can use Precious Trolley and search out a bunch of different Pokemon. And whether that's something like the Brute Bonnet and you have the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, you can see that we're starting to able to piece our combo pieces together. Now, we do have some other attackers in this deck. We do have Hisuian Electrode V, and Hisuian Electrode V is really going to be our answer to Charizard EX, with Charizard EX making finals at the Stuttgart Regionals, actually both finalist place. Having a grass type attacker that can do 100 damage for 0 energies, you poison this Pokemon, and you can go even make that poison damage worth a little bit more with a Hisuian Radiant Sneasler, making poison worth 3 damage counters now. So that means you're doing 100. If you put a super effective glasses that you could search out with Oranguru, that makes your Pokemon do 3 times amount of weakness. Hisuian Electrode V can hit for 300 damage, poison in between turns, knock out a Charizard EX, and not even activate Fezandipiti. Another card we might search out is Latias EX, giving all of our Pokemon in play free retreat because they're all basic Pokemon. You might want to search out a Pecharunt EX so you can kind of bounce back and forth between your Darkness type Pokemon. If you ever play against a control deck or like a Snorlax stall deck, something like Pecharunt EX can completely make that matchup an auto win because they can't block your Pokemon in the active spots. A Pokemon that you might bring in and out of the active spot might be Pecharunt. Pecharunt with its ability making poison additional 5 damage counters. So after one of your Pokemon gets knocked out, you might want to send up Pecharunt to increase the amount of poison damage that you're doing in between turns, or you might want to start off with Pecharunt plus Hisuian Radiant Sneasler plus Brute Bonnet means you could hit 80 even as early as turn 1 since it's not an attack, and knock out a Charmander or knock out a Dreepy. So we can see that there's a lot of different cards that we could play with Klawf. One of the big things that we're trying to do is get right under that knockout level so we can knock out with poison, so we're not activating things like Fezandipiti, we're not activating Unfair Stamp, and other cards. Really interesting deck, and I will have the deck list available in the description and or the pinned comment section, so stay tuned for those. We will be covering over some gameplay to show you what this deck can do. Previously on this channel we were doing like one gameplay video per video. I'm going to try to do a little bit more than that as we go forward, be a little bit more thorough with it. Now is a great time to give the video a like. Let us know in the comments what you think about Klawf, or even just be like, yo Zach, love the videos. All of it helps boost the YouTube algorithm. And that being said, double check to see if you subscribe to the channel. A lot of y'all haven't, about 50% of y'all haven't, so double check to see if you subscribe. Let's get to that 25k subscribers. If you're missing any of the cards for this deck or any other deck you're trying to build, check out Kayfabe Cards. They're in the description. Same thing, you can go to ptcgeostore.com and plug in code TSS5 and save 5% off your order. That being said, let's jump into some of the gameplay. So right now we're just waiting for the opening coin flip and heads. I think our opponent's going to be going first, or deciding on what they're going, if they want to be going first. Typically our deck, we want to go second so we can attack with Klawf on our first turn. If we do go first, we can maybe Pecharunt donk our opponent. So we'll kind of walk through all the different actions. Honestly, not a bad start because we could search out a lot of different things here. And let's see exactly what kind of deck we're facing against. So let's see. So we're playing against a Hydreigon deck. Hydreigon might be a little bit difficult for us to deal with. It is weak to grass, so we do have that Hisuian Electrode as a potential option. If there's a way for us to knock out some of our opponent's Pokemon pretty quickly, I'd really like to get to that. Remember, you can't use Terapagos if you go second on your first turn. So let's see exactly what we can get going on over here. So, I mean, I think step number one is going to be... I might want to just check my deck with Nest Ball, see exactly what's possible. And I do see that we do have Oranguru V here. Now, Oranguru V can search out... our Forest Seal Stone, which means that we can get off an attack. And I think we can actually just get the turn one knockout on our opponent's active with a baby Pecharunt. Not necessarily my favorite use of everything, but we'll just double check through and make sure that we have our other Pokemon here. Latias allows us to retreat. We have Brute Bonnet. We can search out for everything else. We have Pecharunt. So yeah, looks like we're going to start off like this. And this is where we can start comboing some of our pieces. So let's go Switch Cart into our Oranguru V. We're going to go for back order. Back order is going to search for, we need an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. And we need a Forest Seal Stone here. Let's go for Forest Seal Stone goes on to our Oranguru V. And let's go ahead and flip the Star Alchemy. So once during your turn, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. So we're going to use our V-Star on our first turn. And the card we're going to be searching for is Area 0. Now, it's a little bit weird to be searching for Area 0 because it's not as impactful. But once we get our full bench going on here, we should be all good. So let's put that in play. Let's go Arven. And Arven's going to be able to search out for our Precious Trolley. And we might as well just grab a card like... I don't know, let's just grab another Ancient Booster Energy Capsule because we can always search out our super effective glasses later on in the game. So let's go ahead, now that we have access to our full bench, let's go Precious Trolley and let's start searching things out. We do want Brute Bonnet here when it comes down to it. We do want to have access to Latias EX. We do want a Pecharunt. We do want the Radiant Hisuian Sneasler. Anything that we want to get rid of our hand, honestly. We have an Iono, so we're probably okay. Let's grab a Klawf. We could have always grabbed an Iron Bundle as well. Not super opposed to that. We still have 2 spots that we could put down. I'm fine to just get another Terapagos, and let's grab something like simple, like an Iron Bundle in case our opponent sends something up active. So in this case, we have the free retreat with our Pokemon. Because of Latias EX, and now we're able to go ahead and we don't need to be poisoned if this Pokemon is in the active spot, so we could actually go ahead and we could go Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. We can poison this Duskull with Toxic Powder. There's a Toxic Powder ahead, so they're getting poisoned. Let's go ahead, retreat into our Pecharunt. So again, we're going to heal ourselves from our poisons. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pass my turn. They're taking 8 damage counters from poison in between turns. Therefore, they're knocked out. They can't get access to their Fezandipiti. or any other card that might be if they're knocked out. And speaking about Fezandipiti, there is ours. So we're pretty good there. Now, in order for our opponent to kind of jump back into here, I'm not even entirely sure what they can do. They're going to see that their Fezandipiti is not going to be able to work, and we might just be able to go after a couple of their dinos, just taking some single prize card Pokemon, or we can attack them with something like Klawf. We'll have to see what works out for what we have. Iono's fine because I was considering playing an Iono myself. And let's see what we are able to get off our 5 cards. Now, we didn't really get much here. It's actually pretty bad hand, I'm not going to lie. So we might just need to poison our opponent's active Pokemon and see how that exactly works out for us. Unless, of course, we top deck something like a double turbo energy. We could also go something like Iron Bundle into this situation. And they might just be able to discard some of our top cards of our deck, which might be a little bit annoying, so we got to watch out for that. Oh, they're just going to fast charge. Interesting. Nice. So we didn't top deck really much, and we don't really have much that we could kind of surge through in our deck when it comes down to it. We could go Iron Bundle, and I don't think they're going to send up something else. So I think what we're going to try to do is just try to take a knockout here. And let's just go Hyper Blower. Maybe they'll send up something like a Dino or a Pidgey. Hopefully it's not something like their Rotom, because we can't knock out their Zweilous in between turns. We could go for a Hisuian Electrode play, but that's only after Iron Bundle. And you can see that they're thinking about it. Just gonna double check through here. They are thinking about it. Perfect, let's go. So this is going to allow us to kind of get into some type of advantage. I do think something like Binding Mochi can be helpful on a Terapagos, so I am going to put that there. I don't think I'm going to need it on Klawf because Klawf is not going to be able to take any of these knockouts. Nothing in my discard pile particularly that I want. There is Iron Bundle, but I do want to just knock out our opponent's active Pokemon. So as much as we're going to be taking some poison damage ourselves, we are just going to be knocking out this Pokemon again in between turns, not activating Fezandipiti. And we could always go for another Iron Bundle play as we try to draw into more cards. If they knock us out, we can go for something like a Fezandipiti to try to draw some more cards from our turn. Now, the one thing that should be noted is a deck like this, our opponent can use their Obsidian attack and do quite a bit of damage by going 130, 130, 130. So that's something that we got to watch out for, but it doesn't look like this build in particular is going to get there unless they have Neo Upper Energy and a counter gain. And in that case, I think we should have answers to whatever we're kind of dealing with. Maybe our opponent's going to be able to get it. We'll have to find out. As long as they don't Iono us, I'm pretty sure we have a response knockout anyways, so I'm not particularly worried about it. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm kind of excited to see. But you can see how Pecharunt can just knock out a bunch of single prize card Pokemon. We don't need to have these. We don't even have to have energies. We just free retreat. We've taken 2 prize cards, 1 prize card each turn, which is incredibly powerful. And we'll have to see what our opponent does with their Pidgeot EX to make it all worthwhile. Okay, so they probably are grabbing a Neo Upper Energy, or they probably already had one, or they're going to go for Crashing Headbutts. Okay, doesn't look like they have all the pieces there, so if they go Crashing Headbutts, we should be able to get the knockout in response to this Pokemon. Discarding those is like mildly annoying, but that's okay. We're just going to set up our Oranguru, search out our super effective glasses, maybe another Binding Mochi, and I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot. And there's a double Turbo Energy, so I'm actually really happy about that overall. So let's go ahead and let's just double check with Nest Ball, see what we have available. I am going to go for a Hisuian Electrode. We did just get our Pecharunt knocked out, so I'm not super pressed about that. There's our Hisuian Electrode, and our opponent, just to double check, they did not discard our super effective glasses. Let's go ahead and let's go Nest Ball, search our deck for a Fezandipiti. So we're going to start drawing some more cards here. And let's go. I just want to double check the weakness is still grass, right? Yeah, just double checking. When it comes down to these situations, you never know when something just like is missing, right? So let's go super effective glasses. Let's go Binding Mochi. We're going to put the super effective glasses onto our Hisuian Electrode V. We're going to put our Binding Mochi here. We could also draw some extra cards here with our Flip the Script. So let's draw 3 cards. Might as well use our heavy ball. Nothing crazy in our prize cards, but hopefully we're able to draw a supporter of some sort. Now, I don't think our opponent's going to necessarily go after our Terapagos or have the right amount of damage, so I'm going to put the double turbo energy onto our Terapagos. Nothing else that I really want to play, so let's make sure that we're retreating into our Hisuian Electrode. We're going to poison our Hisuian Electrode because we need it for our attack. So this attack is for each special affecting this Pokemon. We're doing 300 damage. You can see they have the 3 damage counters in between turns from poison. So we're going to knock out the Hydreigon in between turns with our Hisuian Electrode V. Again, no Fezandipiti for our opponent. They still have Pidgeot, so it's fine, but some decks just rely on the Fezandipiti when it comes down to it. So there's 2. Honestly, that deserves a big sip of this Advanced GG product. I will shamelessly plug because I really do enjoy the product here at Advanced GG. You could check out the description. It's like kind of, they have energy supplements, focus supplements, and hydration supplements. More or less, like it's kind of like energy drink juice for me, for the energy and the focus. So they really help me kind of tune in, focus on my gameplay, and wake up. So if you're of age, be sure to check it out. Otherwise, consult with your parents. But I absolutely love this product. And we have a sick discount code in the description too. So we're down to 2 prize cards. Our opponent's down to 5. I feel like this is a lot of the times where like they're getting close to conceding the game, because we have more than we have more ways to be drawing prize cards as well. We'll have to see exactly what our opponent does here. Would have been really nice to get that boss's orders if we could have got there. And they're just going to Iono us. Maybe we can get our boss's orders off the Iono. We've already have one in our discard pile from their attack. Did not get there. Don't have a way to draw into it. We're still affected by a special condition. I almost feel like it's better to keep the Electrode on our bench and maybe attack with Terapagos EX in this situation. We'll have to see how it plays out. Because again, the Hisuian Electrode is the Pokemon that can knock out our opponent's whatever it's called, Hydreigon EX, so that's quite beneficial. Big chillin'. It sucks that they're not taking a prize card this turn because I'd love to use the Fezandipiti and try to draw some more cards. Maybe they'll use Curse Blast and give us 1 prize card left. That'd be really cool. Because I think at that point we just win the game. So I'm not entirely sure what their whole game plan is by having Dust Swaps in their active spot, but probably not my favorite use of Night Stretcher unless they're using it immediately. Okay, they're just going to go instant charge. If we get boss, we win the game. Low odds of getting boss, but it'd be cool if we did. We did not get boss. Now, what are our opportunities here? We could always just free retreat out of this because of the Latias EX. We don't need to attach an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, so I can take their hand, reduce it, and maybe get some more cards. We're not winning the game this turn, but we can see exactly what we can get. At this point, I'm down to just put Forest Seal Stone on anything, something that just can't attack, just so in case our opponent plays Iono, it's not going back into our deck. Let's go ahead, retreat here, and I'm going to attack with Terapagos. If you only had 1 Terapagos, you got to be careful about having Terapagos in play. But here we're also not going to use poison. The reason why we're not using poison with Toxic Powder is because I don't want to poison my Terapagos. We're getting more than enough of a knockout anyways. So we're going to knock this out and put ourselves down to 1 prize card left. We're also protecting our Hisuian Electrode V on the bench. So if our opponent does not knock it out and does not deal with this Brute Bonnet or Radiant Hisuian Sneasler, we do just have the knockout on our opponent's active Pokemon. And we should be pretty good there to just deal with whatever we have going on. We're going to see how their counter catcher goes. Yeah, I assume that they were going to counter catcher here. Now, we do need to get around their bench Pokemon somehow. What I'm thinking is if we can get an Arven or we can get a Night Stretcher, something like that, we can kind of go around this Hydreigon EX and knock it out with something else. Even if they send up something like the Pidgeot, we can hit for quite a bit damage with the Terapagos, so that is something to consider there. And I think we had an Electrode in our we had some of those cards in our previous hand, so I might want to use Oranguru first to thin some cards out of the deck. We do have to be a little bit careful because our opponent here can use Obsidian and win the game by going knockout, knockout, maybe knockout, drawing 4 prize cards, upwards of 4 prize cards next turn. So we'll see. I think it's really win the game or not. We only have 1 super effective glasses used per game, unless of course they don't knock it out. In this case, like, we only have 1 super effective glasses, so we can't even respond back for a knockout here. Some unfortunate cards there. Okay, so with no way to knock out the Hydreigon, I think it's best for us to gain the most use out of our cards, and let's send up the Oranguru V. There is a potential option. Now, we did get Arven. Arven does allow us to go Night Stretcher. Night Stretcher does allow us to... We're probably in a decent spot here. Let's just double check to see what we have in our deck. We probably need 1 more Pokemon as well. But I am just going to go all in, because if we don't get it, we don't get it. Night Stretcher. I think what we actually have to do here first is use Fezandipiti to try to draw into an additional card, because we need to get the knockout with Terapagos EX. So let's go ahead and go flip the script. We're going to try to draw some cards. And we did get the Night Stretcher, so I think we are able to win this game. Let's go Night Stretcher here. We're going to go for Iron Bundle. I mean, I guess we could also just go for Boss's Orders if we have that in our deck. But just in case we didn't have the Lumineon get discarded, we can go 200, 260, 290. Yeah, so we have game no matter what. So let's go ahead. Let's go Iron Bundle. So we could have had multiple ways to get the game, but I'm glad that, like, we kind of paused there and looked through it. So let's go ahead and Hyper Blower. They're going to send up the Pidgeot. And what they probably don't realize when it comes down to it is that we can get it anyways. So let's go Arven. Let's search our deck for a Nest Ball. Don't need another Iron Bundle because we could just search out Nest Ball. Let's go ahead, Nest Ball, search our deck for a Bloodmoon Ursaluna. I think that makes the most sense. And we want to poison ourselves here. So we're going to go Retreat, send this up. And you can see that we're hitting for 220, but since we are not poisoned yet, let's go Toxic Powder. So now that we're poisoned, we're hitting for 260, but with 3 damage counters in between turns. So we're able to fully knock out our opponent's Pidgeot EX. What would typically be a very tough matchup, we were able to just kind of breeze through, take prize cards most turns, and really put our best foot forward. Stage 2 decks are difficult, like this and Charizard EX, but definitely possible to get to those numbers when it comes to playing with this deck. Okay, so our opponent won the coin flip. They're choosing. Again, we want to go second when it comes down to it in most cases, but if we're playing against a Stage 2 Pokemon EX deck, we'd like to go first. So we could even knock out their, like, Dreepy, Charmander, Gardevoir before they even have a chance. Now, given this hand, I think we pretty much have everything that we want to start with. I think I want to start off with the Pecharunt because Pecharunt gives me a better chance of getting everything out that I might want to get out. Is a really good chance that I can... Oh, I don't know what happened there. Did not mean to choose the Klawf. But I don't think I'm upset with Klawf either. This is fine. Just starting with a single prize card Pokemon. That's completely fine. Okay, cool. Sure. Terapagos works great. And we'll see exactly how our opponent reacts to this. If they're able to get more than 1 Pokemon out, they might just lose. I think we have all the pieces here to search for a double turbo, a poison. Okay, so they're getting Buddy Poffin, so we're not just like turn 1 knocking them out. So we do have some things that they can like run into a tough situation or not, but right now this is completely fine. Looks like that Pidgey is ours. Looks like they're retreating that Pidgey into a Charmander because they realize what's up. Oh, they can't use Technical Machine Evolution on their first turn. So I think they definitely messed up there because they're going first. And they're going to lose that energy, and they're going to lose the Pidgey and the Technical Machine Evolution. So when it comes down to this, I think what we want to be searching for is going to be a Nest Ball. Nest Ball is going to be searching for, I believe, an Oranguru. An Oranguru is typically going to be my personal choice of Area 0 or 4 Sealstone targets. So let's go ahead and go. Terapagos goes down here. Let's go ahead and slap on a 4 Sealstone onto our Guru. And I could have double checked a little bit better when it came to that Nest Ball. I didn't see if we had Precious Trolley there. We do, so that's fine. So let's go ahead and let's use Area 0 Underdepths. We're going to go Area 0. Now we can go ahead and Arven, so you can see this deck sets up very well a lot of the time. And we're going to go for Precious Trolley, and we're going to go for an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. So let's go ahead and go Precious Trolley. We already have our Pecharunt down here. Probably want to keep that one in our hand if possible. Otherwise, we're going to keep a bench for it. So Brute Bonnet's definitely one of them. Let's go for, we have a Klawf in the active. Latias is another one. Pecharunt's there. Let's go for Radiant Hisuian Sneasler. We already have a Terapagos in play. I like the rest of my hand, so this gives us 2 more spots. And I did grab a Brute Bonnet. Let's grab a Fezandipiti, so that we're able to have that to draw some potential cards. And I think what I want to do is more or less leave a space for just 1 card. Because we want to be able to play something down on our bench as well. Now, when it comes down to poisoning anything, we can put our Ancient Booster Energy Capsule here. We can go ahead and go Toxic Powder. Toxic Powder our opponent's active Pidgey. And let's go ahead, retreat it into our Pecharunts. Now they're at 8 times poisoned, and we are going to pass our turn. They're knocked out in between turns, so no Fezandipiti, no Unfair Stamp. And we have a single prize card Pokemon in the active against a primarily 2 prize card deck. Double Turbo, fantastic prize card there, so that's working out great. Next turn, I'm hoping we're able to get all the pieces to get out Hisuian Electrode and super effective Glasses to get the knockout in between turns. I hope they don't have a counter catcher. That would be annoying if they did knock out like our Oranguru V or even our Fezandipiti. Hopefully with their 3 card hand that they're just not sitting on the absolute sauce here. So we're always trying to think of what is the best way for us, A, to take the knockout, which Pokemon has the least amount of prize cards we're offering, so like a single prize card Pokemon, and in which way can we kind of, which Pokemon are we attacking? How are we getting this knockout? How are we getting these knockouts in between damage? What is our damage cap? Like, those are the things that we're really trying to think of. The fact that they went for Nest Ball and they went for Defiance tells me that I'm not super worried. Maybe they're going to go after Terapagos if they have a counter catcher in their hand already. But these seem like some interesting choices that I would have necessarily gone for unless their cards are prized or they just have them naturally in their hands. Really hoping they just knock out this Pecharunt because that's going to open up the game for us to be in a very, very, very good position. Perfect. So they went after our active. That's great. In this case, since we have free return on all of our Pokemon, I do like setting up Oranguru so we get the option to search out with back order. If we're ever attacking any Pokemon, when it comes down to it, we're probably going to, I'd probably like to attack with Terapagos the most. Since Night Stretcher is not going to matter since we already have our, I don't think we're going to be using Iono because our opponents already has such a low card hand size. And we really are just searching for some key pieces here. So let's go ahead. Let's rip off Professor's Research. We're going to pitch this hand away. And this should be able to get us all the pieces. Let's just double check our prize cards. Yeah, prize cards have a lot of really interesting things in it. But I think what we're going to do next is just going to go back order. We're trying to use back order in those things first. before before using Fezandipiti, because we want to not draw into those cards. We want to try to draw into next cards because we're always trying to think a step ahead. So there's Hisuian Electrode V. We could put this down on another Pokemon. Again, we're just trying to tune out of some cards that we probably had in our hand previously. I do want to keep the other Ancient Booster Energy Capsule in my hand, just because if they ever go Lost Vacuum or anything, it's going to be tough. And don't make mistakes like I previously have. You want to make sure you're poisoning the Pokemon you want to be poisoning. So sometimes you don't want to be poisoning the Pecharunt because it doesn't matter. But for Pokemon like Klawf and the Hisuian Electrode, you definitely want to be the one. Those are the Pokemon that are their damage is activated when they're poisoned, right? So if we look at the attack here, this attack does 100 damage for each special condition affecting this Pokemon. We want to make sure that we're affecting the Hisuian Electrode, because otherwise we are doing 0 and then we're just doing poison. So if we poisoned our Oranguru V by accident first, we're in a really tough predicament. So overall, taking 3 prize cards in our first 2 turns of the game, absolutely amazing. We showed how we can get over that Charizard. Our opponent's going to have to again get rare candy Charizard here in their hands. Like, I don't know what they have. I don't think they have much, and they can't even use Fezandipiti to get through that. So this is where we'd want to retreat our Hisuian Electrode into another Pokemon if we have the opportunity to, because we don't want to necessarily have this Pokemon in our active spots. There's Defiance. They could hit us with some damage like Steady Fire Breathing. That does do a decent bit of damage because we are weak to fire. So that is something that they could consider. 36, they could hit for 120. Iono's not bad here. Our hand was quite good, but we do have an Arven here, so I'm not quite upset about that. I really hope they don't get a Charizard EX off this turn, because we really need a lot to get around it. So yeah, but unfortunately our opponent did get a Charizard. Not too much that we could do there. That's okay. We're going to do our best to attack into their Charizard and deal with this situation the best we possibly can. If we go ahead and send up something like the Oranguru V, we still have our free retreat. We still have opportunities here. They still have 3 prize cards left. So we're going to go with a different strategy that we haven't showcased so far. So let's just use our Heavy Ball, because there's nothing else that does anything there. Let's go ahead and go Nest Ball, because we can get another card out of our deck. I don't want to like play around with Iron Bundle, because like that's not going to totally help us. And I don't know if Arven truly does help us either. Let's go ahead, let's use Flip the Script, because maybe we can get an Iono or something like that. Okay. Nothing super great here. I don't think there's really much else that I could use. I might as well use Backorder while we have it in the active. I'm going to keep my options open like this. Let's go ahead, retreat, and since Binding Mochi is another one of these cards that we want to poison our Pokemon, let's go ahead and let's go Toxic Powder. We are going to poison this, and the way that we're going to try to knock out this Charizard, because we're hitting it for 260 plus 90 damage, 290. If they attack with us again, that goes to 320. But if we send a Pecharunt in between turns on our way back, we do get another knockout. So I think we're pretty close to just getting the response knockout in general. I think a Switch Cart here makes the most sense. Yeah, might as well just clear out of our hands. We already had a Switch Cart, so we could have grabbed something else. I'm just trying to clear cards out of our deck. So let's go Unify Beatdown. And we're not getting the knockout. Our opponent might be like, oh, they're not getting the knockout. They're not getting the knockout in return. A lot of people do forget that the Pecharunt happens in between turns. Poison happens in between turns. So the Pecharunt would knock out the Charizard EX in between turns if we send that up. Not sure what this does. Never seen this Moltres in a Charizard deck. Don't think it's super common, but it is a cool tech, kind of. Okay. So, I mean, the other thing, too, going with it is our opponent with their 2-card hand plus Arven, they might not necessarily have another way to get a knockout on our Terapagos if they don't go through this Charizard. So we are forcing our opponent in a tough spot when it comes down to it. Rare Candy, Technical Machine Evolution. Oh, please tell me they don't have a Rare Candy. Another Charizard in hand or something else like that. Or a Pidgeot. Okay, perfect. I think we just stole the game there. There's our Area 0. They're going to select their prize cards. They're going to put themselves down to 1 prize card, which also means we have to choose 3 Pokemon to discard. Let's be very careful about doing this. Klawf, Oranguru, and it could be Radiant Hisuian Sneasler. I don't think I need Fezandipiti. And now we're setting up our Pecharunt, so in between turns, our opponent's going to take 8 damage counters from poison. So you can see, however it matters, we're going to take our 2 prize cards back. So we were able to creatively knock out the Charizard EX. And whatever our opponent sends up active, there's the Charmander. So we can just go ahead and poison this Charmander and hit it for 8. The other thing that we could have done is, let's say if they had something up a little bit bigger, we still had Bloodmoon Ursaluna, and we could just swing for 240 for the knockout. So when your resources run a little bit low, we have free attacks when it comes to Pecharunt, Hisuian Electrode, and the Bloodmoon Ursaluna. So we were able to kind of take care of Charizard, one of the best decks in formats, pretty easily when it comes down to our Klawf deck. It's not always perfect, but I mean, getting around 330 HP with just single prize card and 2 prize card Pokemon is huge. Just basic Pokemon across the board. When it comes to creating these videos, I always have to decide what makes the most sense for the end viewer. I think 2 gameplay videos against big Stage 2 Pokemon EX decks was a fantastic showcase of what Klawf can do, from using Pecharunt, attacking with Terapagos, attacking with Bloodmoon, in between damage, poison. I mean, in these videos, did I necessarily get a chance to attack with Klawf? No. This deck is very much a tech box deck. I think it more like poison Terapagos than I do think of it as Klawf. So when it comes to playing it, you got to think outside the box. Hopefully this video showcased some tips, some tricks, some strategies that you might use next time you decide to play this deck. Like I said, list is available, going to be in the description and or the pinned comment of the comment section of this video, so you can copy and paste that right into live. Check out our sponsors at Kayfabe Cards and PTC Geostore if you're trying to get any of the cards for this deck online or in real life. If you're looking for a sturdy deck box to put your Klawf deck in, check out Ultimate Guard. I absolutely love their products. And of course, their sleeves are amazing. I've been using these sleeves since Worlds Japan in 2023. So they've held up. They're not disintegrating. They're perfectly good use. I use those sleeves in that tournament myself. So I love the Katana sleeves, and I'm not just saying that. I play with them every single tournament. If they weren't good enough for me to play as a pro player, I wouldn't want to be sponsored by Ultimate Guard. Absolutely love their sleeves. And of course, I keep myself energized with Advanced GG, so check out their products available in our description. We have discounts for a lot of those sponsors, so it does help support the squad. If you want to support the squad for free, check out our content, give our video a like. Let us know in the comments what you think of this video or our other content on the channel. You can see I'm losing words, okay, y'all? But yeah, and also just subscribing to the channel as well really does help. And if you want a little bit more in-depth on Klawf, be sure to hit me up for a coaching session at metafy.gg/@zacklessage. I do offer full-time coaching. That being said, if you want to do 1 or 2 sessions, that's awesome. Love to meet up with a lot of you, and I do have a lot of things that I can share. I got some trophies up there for a reason, y'all, and I can totally help you get your next win at a major event. So I would love to help you out on your journey. As always, appreciate the love and everything on the content. We've been really trying to do our best here. I know I've basically taken over our channel in the last little bit. It's more of a passion project for me at this point, to really provide the best content I can for free to our community. So as always, much love, peace out, and have a great day. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.